On paper where the story's told, facts and truth, the legend grows. Lionheart's here with fire to spit. It's on paper with Anthony Smith.
With Anthony Smith.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the On Paper podcast. You guys already know me, and you already know Kelly still works here. I'm not quite sure why, but we made it out of UFC 319 fight week. Chicago was amazing. Yeah, what'd you do this weekend, Kelly? Did you watch the fights?
I did. I watched them yesterday because I went to a wedding on Saturday. So yesterday I was playing the old catch-up game.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't even a good enough card to change your plan.
Yeah, to just skip my friend's wedding for?
Well, she seems kind of selfish for having a wedding on a pay-per-view day.
Listen, it's better than football season. That's always tragic.
Football season is going to be tough. Yeah, football season is going to be tough for things to do.
But there was some shit in the air in Chicago. It was a good fight card. It was fun.
I really, really like Chicago, and I'm a bit biased because it's Midwest. It's not that far from me. Midwestern people, you find yourself in Denver, you find yourself in Chicago, St. Louis isn't far, Kansas City. So I've been there a bunch, but this was the most fun. I think a lot of the last handful of times, it's kind of a quick in and out. Like a kid will play volleyball there. I fought there. I fought Rashad in my light heavyweight debut in Chicago. We go in, we shop, we, kind of do the touristy stuff a little bit and then leave. I had a lot of fun though. I was there. It was long because I was there. I got there Monday night. But it was fun. I ate really, really good food. And then my family flew in on Friday. So then we went out to dinner Friday night. And then Saturday we went and shopped a little bit. And we went to the pier, went to the little ledge, the little lookout thing over the city. Mm-hmm. It was good. We did all the touristy things. Stayed a little late on Sunday and flew back last night. It was a good time.
Well, yeah, because your thing is you always fly out first thing Sunday morning because you're trying to get back home to your family. But having them there, it's nice to have a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah. And, flying with 4 kids that are tired and didn't sleep enough and whatever is never the funnest thing in the world. But we had a good time. We sat with Chael and his wife and watched the fights the entire time, jumped on the post show and rocked it out. It was a good time. But there definitely was something in the air early in the night.
Well, we're going to have RJ Clifford on in a couple minutes. We talk about him a lot, your former SiriusXM counterpart. Mm-hmm. Absolutely love him. Excited to hear all of his thoughts on the card and hear you guys get into the nuts and bolts of it. But there's a couple of obvious answers for sure. But anyone in particular really stand out to you?
Well, I have to give some love to Tim Elliott. I've known Tim. As long as I've been fighting, I've known Tim. So he's been around a long time, Kansas City guy. So obviously we came up in the same scene. He's 38 or 39 years old at a very light weight class. So that's the thing that stands out. There's lots of guys that fight at 37, 38, 39, 40. Most of them are heavier guys. As you age, if you slow down just a tick, like a tiny, tiny little bit, at that weight class makes a world of difference.
It's so obvious.
Because everything is based on reaction time and speed at those lighter weight classes. So with even just a tiny bit, like Joseph Benavidez, right now, if he weighed 185 pounds or 170 pounds or 205, if he was like a big guy, he'd be the best guy in the world. Even now, after he's been retired for some years. But at 125 pounds, it's just really hard to be successful if your reaction time or your speed slows down just a little bit. So that's impressive to me that he's still able to beat some of the top guys in the world, a 2-time rising champion, a guy that came in and was supposed to set the world on fire right away. I just think that's really impressive. Lerone Murphy, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not that surprised. I wasn't that surprised. I knew he had that in him. This seemed like to be his breakout moment, but I think he finally just got like this real emphatic finish with a lot of eyes on the fight. That dude's good. Dude's good. I've been singing his praises for a long time.
There's a lot of question marks too when guys come over from Bellator, and he was obviously facing Aaron Pico, former Bellator guy, and we have that conversation so often of these Bellator guys, whoever, PFL guys coming over. And we wonder what it would have been like 5-6 years ago if they came. Like, we had the same conversation about Patricio Pitbull. Aaron
Right.
Pico's 28 years old. So it
Yeah.
certainly felt like right place, right time, but there's still going to be those question marks. And when Pico loses, he usually loses in nasty KO
Yeah.
fashion.
Yeah, and that was a scary one. That was a scary one. I don't know I don't know how it translated at home, but when you're there, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes people are different after that. Like, not even just fighting. Like, sometimes people are like different people. And I've seen it so many times. So I just really hope he's okay. MVP, kind of more of the same. Was very impressed. Thought that the fight could go exactly the way that it went. Super impressed with that. I thought that was dope. Protes, the finish in itself was absolutely goddamn amazing. But also, I think we all knew he had something like that in him. We've seen him do that time and time again. Now, the person he did it to is what I think makes the big difference here. But we'll get into it later. Just kind of the X's and the O's and the deep, fight analysis. But I'm not super surprised at that either. I think just the crowd really pumps this energy and this. I don't know, whatever that intangible thing is. A lot of times you get great, amazing crowds like that, and these are the type of fights that you see.
Well, I think for Prates, the more impressive thing is responding that way after his first UFC loss. And it's a loss. It was Ian Machado Gary. It's a loss that I'm fairly confident will age really well. But I was curious to see how he would respond, and you quite literally couldn't have a better answer than that.
No, you couldn't. And I had it's easy to say this in hindsight. I had a feeling something like this was going to happen, but I had him on the,
you guys on the desk thought DDP was going to win, right?
Yeah. I mean, nobody's seen it happen like that. Nobody's seen it happening like that. And now, honestly, looking back at it, we should have known, but we'll get into it later. But when I had Protes on the Lionheart Lounge, and he said a lot of really good things that made me think, okay, this guy really did his work. He was really self-reflective. He really broke down his own game, and instead of making excuses, which he very well could have, he decided to go the other direction and say, this is my fault. You got to look inward. A lot of people look outwards when they lose. I need a new coach. I need a new gym. My strength and conditioning wasn't good enough. I got bad people in my life. I need to move to a different country. They look out. Everything is, I got to fix the things that I can see. Not a lot of people look in the mirror. And it seemed like through our conversation, like this guy really looked in the mirror and said, I overestimated Ian Gary a little bit. I thought over 25 minutes I could get him out of there at some point. He's better than I thought he was. He's better than I gave him credit for. I just wasn't good enough, and I had to get better. He said listen, this guy comes from a team called the Fighting Nerds.
Yeah.
And sat there and told me to my face I made some bad decisions and I didn't fight with a very, very high fight IQ. With the group of people around him that are as successful as they are, that takes a lot of balls to say, we might be the Fighting Nerds, but I didn't use my brain. And I fought like an idiot. And I had to go back. I had to change a lot of things. And then he told me, this is the wildest part, that his new plan is just to win. He's not concerned with entertaining anymore. That he's done that, and that he just wants to go in there and focus on getting wins because he needs to work his way to a title. And then he fucking does that.
I'm not concerned with entertainment. And then he has a spinning back elbow buzzer beater.
Yeah, that's what he told me. I'm not concerned with entertaining. But I think that's what happens sometimes. You stop chasing the knockouts and then you start to find them. You stop worrying so much about the result and you just focus on the individual performance while it's happening in real time and be really present. And all of a sudden you start finding yourself knocking people out and having these great decisions. I think that he just learned a lesson Saturday night that's going to ride with him through the entirety of the rest of his career. I think he just figured out, I'll knock people out if I just focus on winning moments and winning each individual moment that's happening, whether it's a hand fight battle. He did a lot of little things that I've seen him kind of be lazy about. He really focused on keeping his back off the fence. He really focused on the footwork. He fought the hands at the few times that they got into some hand fight battles. He didn't even want to lose the hand fight battle. He didn't want to lose the head battle. Like he just focused on moments, and look what happens.
Well, there's got to be some sort of added pressure as well when he's, like you said, his team is the Fighting Nerds, and over the last year, they've taken the MMA world by storm. They so many of them have been uber successful, had these crazy moments, or climbing the rankings. Like, of course, you don't want to be the guy that goes out there and kind of puts on a dud. But
Right.
when you're so focused on being so exciting, that's when you kind of get caught up. And you can't do
For
that
sure.
against a guy like Ian Machado Gary.
For sure. And then the last one, I kind of want to give a shout out to Eric Nolan, which, if I'm being honest, kind of hurts my feelings a little bit. But I have to give a person flowers where they deserve them. Eric Nolan, East Coast guy, and just knocked out really close friend and training partner, and now kind of pupil of mine, Blaine Richards. And Blaine took that loss really, really hard. And I tried to tell him, because they're 1-1 now. He beat Eric Nolan the first fight. They were rematching, and he just beat Blaine, some time ago. It was a couple months, whatever it was. And I tried to tell Blaine, listen, this is a really good kid. That's a UFC level fight. That's just not in the UFC. Things happen. You've already beat him. You have the ability to. You broke him down systematically over the entirety of a fight and got to finish. And he clipped you in the rematch, and now you guys are 1-1. It is what it is. But he, when you're trying to make it and you're trying to get signed and you're trying to find yourself in a somewhere with an opportunity, it's hard to see that. So number one, everything I told Blaine turned out to be true. That Eric Nolan is high level, it's UFC caliber, really good. They bring the fucking dude in on 4 days' notice to fight a guy who just fought, coming off the Contender Series. I tell you guys his name, but I can't say it. So I haven't said it enough times to be confident in it. So,
Fair enough.
Anyway, Khamzat's guy, right? He's coming up with all this hype. He's essentially a lamb being led to slaughter, and goes in and about fucking finishes that dude in the first round. And mind you, this is a weight class up. So this is a Khamzat guy who obviously can wrestle, who's got a pressure game, who moves forward, really flashy on his feet, got all the hype behind him. And this welterweight comes in and just throws caution to the wind and just lets him fucking fly. Ends up getting his knee banged up in the second round and can't continue what he'd started. And whatever, bro. You took a loss, whatever, bro. You look great. You about finished that dude. And selfishly, that loss ages well for Blaine. The more that those types of things start to happen, so they kind of motivated me, and I hope that it motivated Blaine. And like, look, you're right there. You're right there.
Well, that's probably why he took it so hard, because number one, you lose. It was a title fight, yes?
It was, yeah.
So just
if Blaine wins, that's me
exactly.
and Blaine in there on
That's
Saturday.
Just another layer of the cake. A loss is a loss. You lose your title.
Well, it's Blaine, and I'll be with him. It's not me and Blaine. It's Blaine. That's Blaine's fight, and I'd be right there with him. So
exactly.
That hurts, but it also means we're right there. We're right there. We got to win over that dude. And,
absolutely.
Whatever. But I got to give a shout out to Eric Nolan, because that takes a lot of balls. And I thought he looked really good, and he did something really hard. And I always want to give some sort of credit to people that do hard things.
Well, we mentioned RJ Clifford. He's going to join us here in just a second. You guys are probably all used to seeing him on your TVs every pay-per-view. He's become a really big part of the UFC weigh-in show. I always say it. He's got to be the most creative guy I've ever met in my entire life. I'm excited to hear what he has to say about all of this.
Yeah, I love RJ. We've known each other 8 or 9 years now. Until just recently, no one on the SiriusXM side knew who RJ was. And like a lot of people on the UFC side didn't know who that guy on SiriusXM was. The whole time it's been the same dude.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Like, I've heard people at UFC events talk shit about RJ at the show, standing right in front of him, having no idea that it's the same person. Having no, this motherfucker on SiriusXM was saying blah, 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 blah. RJ would be like, yeah, that's crazy. RJ said, that's crazy, bro.
See, that's why you guys were always all getting headlined. He got away with a lot for forever.
He got away with a
face
lot.
To the name.
Well, now they've put a face to it, because now he's got a great. Like, you're right. He's one of the most creative people I've ever met. He's really good at this, like the media side, the broadcasting side. He's kind of the backbone at times when I'm working the desk for fight nights. Anything I need, RJ's right there for me. So yeah, I'm excited for everyone here to probably, if you don't watch the weigh-in show, this will probably be a fun introduction into someone who I think is going to be making an appearance on here a bunch. Warning: this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Black Buffalo products are intended for adults aged 21 and older who are consumers of nicotine or tobacco. If you're 21 or older and use nicotine or tobacco, it's time you charge ahead and join the herd with America's only credible smokeless tobacco alternative, Black Buffalo. Now available at thousands of best in-class retailers like Wawa, Circle K, Sheetz, Love's, Pilot, Racetrack, and more. Black Buffalo was established in America in 2015 to honor the ritual and tradition of dip without the tobacco leaf or stem. Black Buffalo's long cut and pouches are made of barn-cured leafy greens that dip and feel like traditional products, all with food-grade ingredients and USP-grade nicotine. You're in good company with the Black Buffalo herd. Brand ambassadors like MMA Hall of Famer Cowboy Cerrone, professional race car driver Ryan Blaney, and country music star Larry Fleet all proudly dip Black Buffalo tobacco alternative, an American brand built on authenticity and respect. If you're looking for a real dip experience, long cut or pouches, go to blackbuffalo.com to join the herd. Use their store locator to find a retailer near you or ship products directly to you in most states. Black Buffalo tobacco alternative. The future of dip, honoring the past.
RJ, how are you? I miss you.
Good, good. I can't wait to listen to this again and hear all those compliments. You're just like, hey, we're running a little late. We're complimenting you. And it was like 2 hours later when you guys finally got back to me. So like, wow, that's a lot of compliments.
A laundry
Appreciate it.
list, if you will.
Dude, how did they allow you to have Brian Stan let you run him through this ridiculous, it was so funny. It was so funny. But how did that come about?
So I don't know. So Zach Candido is the head of production at the UFC, and for the weigh-in show, like 2 weeks before, I'll send out an email to him, Cody, the other producer, a small handful of people that kind of brainstorm what the weigh-in show is going to look like. And, you know, I've got like some topics, I've got some segments, I've got some ideas. And then like every now and then I'll be like, here's like a feature or two for me, like a man on the street or like something I can do. And it's almost always no, because I usually don't get in early enough to do it. A couple other like moving parts. They have Mackenzie do her food segment and it's already done. This time, like my list that I sent, he said yes to everything. I don't know if he had like just gotten laid right before he answered my email, was in a great mood or what, but he was just like, yes, 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 and yes. So it's like, great, sweet. So I flew in a day early, shot it, and Stan was a good sport about it. Stan, like, because as we know, right, like he's the weigh-in show, like he's good no matter where he goes. But I was like, okay, he's kind of, you know,
if anything is gonna fuck up Brian Stan, it's gonna be the way
he's a straight-laced, like, you know, and he's got a personality. But he's got a personality. He's funny. He can do anything. But it's like the weigh-in show is where we're like shocking each other while rubbing hot sauce in our eyes, listing off our favorite neck tattoos on Brazilian fighters. Like, and he's just like, all right, here's exactly what Chimaev's background is in wrestling, and we're doing wacky stuff. So that's why I thought it'd be hilarious if we're like, okay, we got to break Stan in. Like he has no idea what's coming his way. So let's just do this fun bit, and hopefully people liked it.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Is he going to be a staple of someone? Are you going to keep bringing on the weigh-in show?
So from my understanding, this specific show was a one-off. He was in town for work for something unrelated, and also it was our fantasy football league draft, which he's still in. And so, like, if you know, again, that's our producer Zach, who literally booked someone on a show just so they can make the fantasy football draft. But he was asked a bunch of times. I asked him, he's like, hey, he's a busy guy. Like he's like CEO of a major company now. Like he's so above and beyond MMA right now with what he's doing.
Right.
But he's like, if I could fit in calling 2 or 3 fights a year, like I would definitely do it. So I know the response was big on like all the comments on all the videos are like, Stan's back. So I know people want him back. I know he wants him back. He wants to be back. It's just a matter of those hundreds of employees of his can do without him a few weekends a year.
Right. All right. Well, here's what I think we're gonna do, RJ. I just want to chit chat about some things that are interesting to me, and chances are, if I'm right about the last 7 or whatever years we've been together, you probably care too. So I'm gonna start with Brian Battle missing weight in his second, and his back-to-back weigh-ins, 2 different weight classes, both of them really big misses. What's your take here? Because I feel like the rest of the world is really shitting on this kid. Really shitting on him. And I know he's a bit of a loudmouth when he's in the octagon and you know, in his post-fight and pre-fight stuff. He does get he's very confident. Even I could see how people could graduate him to full arrogance.
Mhm.
Every interaction I've had with him has been positive. He's been very respectful. He's very down to earth, even a bit soft-spoken when there's no cameras and stuff around. So I do feel for him a little bit. It feels like, and he's a professional. He busts his ass. He works really, really hard. I have no indication that this would be true, but I feel like there's something else happening with him, because I know at one point he was like 300 pounds. That's why even when he's in great shape, he's got a bit of softness and some, you know, some flab in his belly a little bit. It's kind of some extra skin from when he was heavy. But fuck, man, you can't miss weight twice. You can't miss a 70 big fight, move to 85, and then miss big again. What is your kind of whole take here? You're a little bit more on the ground when a lot of that stuff is happening. So what do you think?
Yeah. So again, you're you know, you're such a better analyst than me for several reasons, and one of them is because you actually give a shit about the fighters. I'm a sociopath. Like, I just want the ass kicking, right? So with Bryan Battle, like, but to that point, I love watching him fight. Like, he's a fun fighter, and we've seen fighters get cut for less. You miss weight back to back, especially going up a weight class. Like, they cut Anthony Johnson for doing that, right?
Yeah.
Like, went up in weight, missed, and then lost. At least he made it to the fight, and the fight happened. Bryan Battle's weight miss was so bad the fight just disappeared, right? The commission, and the Illinois commission's pretty tough. Like, if you're over by 3 pounds,
they're strict.
They're very, very strict, right? So there's a chance he might get cut. I doubt it. Dana White was asked about it in the post-fight presser, and he was pretty unemotional about it. He's like, we'll figure it out when we get back to Vegas, as opposed to sometimes he'll just be like, you can't miss weight. You can't cause us to miss fighters. This is back to back. Like, he'll blow up on guys. I think it's because Battle, you know, is a fun fighter, right? Like, he's
the non-answer was good. Was good news for Bryan Battle when I seen it.
Very, very
so
good
that,
news. So
it wasn't a confirmation you're still here, but it wasn't a go fuck yourself, and that's great news.
So I think he'll be back, which again I'm glad, because he is a fun fighter. If he was kind of an anonymous nobody ho hum dude, maybe wouldn't care as much. But I feel for whoever he has to fight next, because you're gonna go with that entire camp, and in the back of your mind, you're gonna be like, is this all gonna be for nothing? Am I cutting all when you're on your last 2 pounds of weight cut in the sauna, and you're like, Battle's probably eating Twinkies right now.
Is he doing
like, why
this?
am I doing this? Right? Like,
yeah.
I feel bad for whoever he has to match up against, but I like your point though, where when it's that drastic, you're like, is there a medical problem? Did his dog die? Like, is something going on in his life? Like, it's symbolic often of something else much deeper going on. And it's weird. Like, you don't want that to be the case, but you kind of wish there was a big excuse, and not just the fact.
I hope there's a big.
I hope something terrible's happening in his life, and that's why he missed weight, and not just he just can't drive by a Taco Bell without getting a chalupa.
Yeah, maybe that's why Dana gave the kind of no answer. Maybe he's got a little more insight than maybe the rest of us. I'm sure that he does, if there is something.
This is really fun. You lead hosting, by the way, our role reversal.
It is. It's not terrible,
great.
right?
This is so much fun. I don't have to guide the ship. I don't have to think. Just respond.
Yeah,
this is great.
Yeah. See, listen, I'll do all the heavy lifting and all the work here, and you just sit back and relax. I'll probably bounce around a little bit, but I'm just going as it pops in my head. So Tim Elliott getting a win deep into his 30s, at the tail end of his 30s at 125 pounds. I actually steal something you say all the time. And you know, I've always said that RJ makes me think a little bit differently about some of these the spots in this game, and like, you give me a tidbit here, and then I just go down that rabbit hole, and I kind of create this whole different thing that I would have never thought about. But you're the first one who had said something about kind of the lower weight fighters, their entire game being based on reaction time and their speed. And when you lose a little bit of that, you get like situations like Joseph Benavidez, probably the best guy in the world when he retired, but it slowed down just a tad, and it really, really affected the last part of his career. Why is this not happening to Tim Elliott? It doesn't make any sense to me. And I also feel like it was interesting that there was a lot of people. I heard people from where I was sitting in the arena, you know, with the family. It's me and Chael's wife and my wife and my kids. But you can hear what people are saying kind of down below you. And Tim's fighting, and they're saying, what the fuck is this guy doing, dude? He's all over the place. Like, he hasn't fought in so long. Some people are being like introduced to him for the first time. Well, you and I know Tim's been fighting like that since he was an amateur. He's just a fucking wild man. But why is he not? Because he kind of burns the candle at both ends a little bit too. He doesn't fight that often. Why is he not slowing down? Or why is it not affecting him if he
I mean,
is?
that's a great question. I mean, like you said, he's going to be 39 on Christmas Eve, and he's won 4 or 5 in a weight class where you can't afford to be old. I think it's fighting style. I think grapplers age better than strikers. Like you look at like Damian Maia was still really good in his 40s. Randy Couture still really good in his 40s. Dan Henderson got a title shot at 45. The grapplers and power guys.
That's fucking insane.
Isn't that wild? I mean,
like how I feel at the same weight class at 37. Jesus Christ.
And
that's insane.
And Hendo had like 3 careers of pride fights, fighting heavyweight at like my size after 2 Olympic cycles of wrestling. Like, dude, that's it may never happen again. But it's guys like that sometimes can fight long. And so Tim Elliott's, primarily grappler, right? Like when he's striking, he's kind of just jumping around like a jumping bean, and then he just kind of timing that double leg, and he did so well against Kaya Zakura. I think just being a grappling heavy guy and not taking damage striking can do a lot. But like a real answer, like I don't know, great genetics, made a deal with the devil. I don't know. You pick.
Looks great too. Yeah. Like he looks in really good shape.
Did you like him better haired and bearded, or did you like the haircut fight of?
I think long hair and bearded, like longer beard. I think I dig that a little more mountain man ish.
He pulls off the homeless look really well.
I was disappointed when I was looking at the promo and the pre-fight interview, and then he came out. I'm like, this piece of shit waited till after his media to cut his hair. Who does that? What is happening?
Veteran move.
But no, I liked him. I've always had a great time around him. He's a Kansas City guy, so same scene coming up. Then we get into Protes and Jeff Neal. I don't know that I'm super surprised. I think that was always a possibility. What was your just general take on it? I guess I'll let you go first.
Well, the UFC is obviously heavily invested in Carlos Protes, the fighting nerd. They've promotionally pumped them a lot. And again, there's Jeff Neal's awesome. He's been, even the fights that he's lost, he was kind of right there with really good dudes. Like when Shavkat was on a complete finish streak, he was just 40 seconds away from making it to a decision, which is a big deal. Went to a splitty with Ian Gary not that long ago, who's now knocking on the door of a title shot. So he's given some really good guys some serious fits, but he's pretty damn hittable. Like he's always kind of there. And Carlos Protes, like you just can't be hittable against Carlos Protes. Again, with the back-to-back spinning back elbows, I think they were a little different. I think Protes like set this up a lot better, where I feel like Pico kind of ran head first into his. But yeah, man, Carlos Protes is the truth. Like I think he learned a lot in that fight against Ian Machado Gary. I think it was like not too much too soon, but I think it was at his stage of his development that was something he wasn't prepared for. And now he knows what damn near the ceiling looks like. And he's got the lung darts going again. He's got the confidence and swagger again. A couple new tattoos.
Ripping darts.
Feeling himself, man.
Ripping darts.
Yeah. The Marlboro Man.
Yeah. I thought that I don't know why I thought this, but I thought, well, there's no way he smoked that many cigarettes. Maybe he's just ripping darts when he's drinking and having some whiskey. So I did an episode of the Lionheart Lounge at a tattoo shop with Protes on Tuesday morning.
Okay.
As soon as it was over, first thing he did, walks outside. He's waiting on his ride. I got the best picture. He's just standing there in the street, smoking a cigarette, like just hanging out. I had a really fascinating conversation with him, and it made a lot of sense in why he maybe kind of is the way he is. He left Brazil and spent a lot of time in Thailand and kind of in that Thai culture. And I asked him, like, you probably, with like your lifestyle and how your kind of mind works coming into this game, I bet you really fit in Thailand. Like, because that's kind of how, especially the older Thai fighters, they're smoking and drinking, and it's no big deal. Like, oh shit, it's my turn, and they just go and
fighting,
fight.
smoking, and gambling, just constantly,
that's
just vices all day long.
Right, and that's all they do. And so he said that he thinks that his time in Thailand kind of changed his personality in terms of when people fight in the U.S., for example, U.S. fighters. He said it's almost like it's their wedding day. Like, oh my God, this has to be the perfect day. Anything can't go wrong. And he kind of adopted that Muay Thai mentality where it's just another day. They get up, they do whatever they were normally going to do in the morning, and then they just go on throughout the day. And getting into a fight in an arena is just part of whatever the rest of
because they've
the
been
day
fighting
looks like.
every other weekend since they were 6 years old. So it's just
Right.
par for the course.
Well, and some of them are fighting twice a week, and it's like you train the other 5 days and do whatever else you have to do to survive. And so I think him taking that pressure off was a big deal, but I thought it was really important that he admitted that even though he's part of Team Fighting Nerds, that he fought with a really stupid game plan. He didn't. He had a bad fight IQ, and then he just admitted, I thought I underestimated him. I thought I could finish him, and he was better than I thought he was, and I had to get better. You don't hear that very much from guys that are where he's at right now. It's a lot of excuse making.
There needs to be an Anthony Bourdain of martial arts because the martial arts and how people and cultures approach combat sports mirrors the culture itself. So like judo, Japanese, very regimented. Every move has a name. It's like, I am doing this move. I'm executing this move. American wrestling, we're very individualistic. Like, it's like, oh, I'm doing a double leg with my own kind of flavor to it. Like, it doesn't really have a name. I'm just doing it. Like Russia with Sambo, they're very regimented and brutal and ruthless. Like, why are there heel hooks in Sambo? Because it's a military martial art that was designed that, like, if I kill my enemy, that's one guy gone. But if I break his leg, he's gone, and it takes 2 guys to wheel him off of the battlefield. So I took out 3 guys, right? Like, it's every martial art based on their culture is influenced by its culture. And so, like, I would love for something like you should do this, Anthony. It's just like different cultures, right? Like maybe Paramount Plus CBS will do this, where it's like you not just learn the martial art, but you learn how the culture is invested in the martial art. That's my long way of saying
we're going to Thailand.
We're going to Thailand first, too. And my second thing that I'm saying is Carlos Protes, to your point, is very much a Thai fighter in both approach, mentality, get some Camel Wides in me before I train, and I'm ready to go.
He seems like the type of guy that bites a filter off a cigarette first before he lights it.
Yeah.
That's definitely, and he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I don't know how good it is. I hear that it's decent. But I don't know that I care to see it too much. I'm enjoying what I'm watching so far. And then after that, this is where it gets interesting for me and kind of what your thought process is on all of this. We've seen a lot of people. I seen this graphic somewhere online yesterday, and it was talking about all of the fighters that have come over to the UFC from other organizations. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't fucking count Cage Warriors.
Okay.
I think that's unfair. The graphic had a lot of the Cage Warriors guys that came over, and like they have great records in the UFC. But I feel like Cage Warriors is more of a regional show. I know that that's not the case. I would put Cage Warriors more so like LFA, like a big LFA show. So all of those guys are going to do great. But that's not me bashing Cage Warriors.
And that's important to remember, because I think the big reason that so many like Bellator fighters don't do well in the UFC is they come from Bellator after being there for 8 years. They come to the UFC at 34, 35, 36. They already used up their championship prime in another organization. I know this doesn't apply to Pico, but to your point, like when you're at a little regional show and you're like, I'm making $3,000 a fight, like I need to get to the UFC as fast as possible. You go to the UFC when you're champion at 26. When you're in Bellator and they paid a couple guys really, really well, you're like, I'll keep making $1 million to fight these dudes until I'm in my mid-30s, and then I'll head over to the UFC. So I think it's not an insult, but I think that's very important to your point, is that if you're more regional, you want to get out of there quicker to the big show. When you're making a good money in like a national show that's just under the UFC, you use up your prime sometimes in there.
Right. And so to your point, I think that we're just getting guys that are coming out of their prime from Cage Warriors, and Cage Warriors is a great show. I think they do a really good job of preparing their guys for the big show, because there's really, really tough people to come out of that organization. But so I don't really count that. We don't have there's not a whole shit ton of PFL guys that come over. But the Bellator guys haven't fared necessarily that well. I think that's a great point that you made, that they're not coming over in their prime. But I also think that they don't spend I think like Chandler had tough fights here and there. He would run into a pit bull or, whoever here and there. But every single fight in the UFC, even the people you don't know, could separate you from consciousness. I don't know. Again, I agree totally. I don't think that any of those things apply with Pico.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that surprised. I wasn't that surprised. I picked Lerone Murphy partially because of his UFC level competition. Nobody does well in their freshman debut in the UFC. Even if you win, you're gonna look like shit probably. But Lerone Murphy is as good as they come. He's really, really well rounded. He's conditioned very well. He's got power in his hands, and he had a tough time early. But I thought Pico, and I have to preface this. I do this all the time because I'm trying to be a better person, and I don't want people to think that I'm trying to bash them or talk bad about them. I like Pico. I like his personality. I like what he stands for. I spent all day on Saturday talking with Dustin Poirier and Michael Chiesa about how pretty his boxing can be at times when he decides to really get his feet moving a little bit, and just how absolutely fucking beautiful it is to watch. It's fun to watch. But sometimes he fights with absolutely zero fight IQ. The walking forward, the running into the fire, the walking people down, the aggressiveness. There's no touching. There's no feeling. There's no feelers. There's no like fill punches. There's not a lot of feints. There's no trickery at all. So in the first 5 seconds, I looked right at Chiesa and was like, he's going to get knocked the fuck out. He can't fight like that. If he doesn't finish him soon, he can't fight like that for very long because he's going to get clipped. And historically, when he gets put out bad. Yeah. What do you do with Aaron Pico? What do you change if you're his coach? What do you do if you're his management team? What the fuck does the UFC do with him? Because he probably wasn't cheap. So that means he guaranteed is moving into another top 10 guy. What do you do with him? And what the hell's happening?
Well, we could do hours on Aaron Pico. Let's end with Lerone Murphy and start with Aaron Pico because I got a lot on Murphy with how good he is. So I feel betrayed by Aaron Pico. Like when he came,
why?
Okay, so when he came into Bellator, right, and we all know the story, right? He in high school, he went undefeated. He couldn't go to college because he got an agent and got sponsors and became a professional athlete at 18 years old. So he went the international circuit. Was 1 point away from making the freestyle Olympic wrestling team as a teenager, right? And he's like, okay, I didn't make the cycle. I'm going to fight. And all us wrestlers, Anthony, you remember, like, I can remember 2016, 2017 when he was coming in. We're like, this is the bluest blue chip prospect ever. This guy's going to be insane. He's going to be so good. And he goes and loses his first fight. And
to Zach Freeman?
Zach Freeman, right?
Okay. Before I let you continue, that's the dumbest fight booking I've ever heard of. You take a 19, what was he, 19 at the time? 20? Maybe?
Something like that. Very, very young.
Yeah, young. Very, very young. He's got almost no experience, next to nothing at this game. You put him in there with a 30-something-year-old veteran who's been at this a long
17 fights, something like that.
Yeah, like what matchmaker or what were his coaches or his management? What are you guys thinking?
He has
it doesn't sometimes at those points, it doesn't matter how goddamn good you are. A guy like Freeman, who's been in there with some really tough people, he's been in big shows, he's been lost to good guys, he's beat some pretty good guys, a bit up and down. He only fought a couple more times, I think, after the Pico fight. But it's a veteran. This is a grown man fighting a very, very young green person who's never been in this world before. You know, the writing was kind of on the wall. If you look back in hindsight, you're like, well, fucking course that was going to happen. Like, he doesn't know enough to know where to stay out of half the time because he's been doing this very long.
Well, I would say, like, I'm tempted to say Aaron Pico is the most mismanaged fighter in MMA history, but I think to your point, he's just not that good. Period. Like, you see the flashes, like we both, like, I think any boxing coach sees him throw combinations and, counters to the body, and you're just like, oh, this guy's got it. And obviously he can wrestle like anyone else. He's a physical specimen. He's like his best win. Like, he's not a baby anymore, right? He's got what, 28 or 18 fights now, right? His best win is Henry Corrales, who he went 1-1 against. His second best win of his career, Pedro Carvalho, who's 13-10. Like, he hasn't beat anybody. Unlike these other Bellator fighters where you're like, all right, Will Brooks, who came into the UFC 17-1 and didn't pan out.
Right.
Michael Chandler, who was just, coming off a big win in the UFC.
Will Brooks is the biggest one. Because he wasn't that old.
Yeah.
He beat a couple really tough guys, had some great wins, and then for whatever reason, just absolutely shit the bed and never got another chance. Michael Chandler's not that surprising. He left his best years behind.
But there's guys, so like Ben Askren, I think is the best example, right? Came into the UFC undefeated, and like I didn't think Ben Askren would succeed in the UFC's welterweight division. I think his style of wrestling for MMA, like just kind of lunging forward like a zombie and hoping to get your paws on somebody, wouldn't pan out. But at least with Askren, he absolutely earned the right to prove everybody wrong. You're undefeated. You're Bellator champion, ONE FC champion. Like, okay, let's see what you got. I've been wrong before. Let's see what you got, and didn't pan out. Aaron Pico, like, we've seen him lose to not good guys. We haven't seen him beat anybody. He's not a former champion coming to Bellator. He's a guy that we've been calling a prospect for a decade. You're not a blue chip prospect for 9 years, right? At some point, you are what you are. And I think you made a great point. Like, you watch the striking, and it's awesome. Watch his hand speed; it's great. His wrestling's fantastic. But there's just no feel for the sport. Like, watch the spinning. So when they initially shot Lerone Murphy's knockout of Aaron Pico, it was waist up. Watch the angle where they're head to toe. And Pico takes a big step forward with his right, takes a big step forward with his left. His feet are square and his hands are down, standing in front of Lerone Murphy. And you're just like,
I can't think of one reason you would do that in an MMA fight. Like when they keep replaying and then they go to that real low like camera angle, like why are you shaking to the right in that moment? Like Lerone Murphy's instincts where he was spinning and just went, or like he just hit that angle and Lerone Murphy was like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna go because you're coming forward. Like there was this. It's so weird to look so good but be so bad.
It's uncanny. It's uncanny.
It's odd.
And there's a reason why Lerone Murphy had gone 6 straight fights without a finish, because he's the type of guy that, look, if I can hit you and be out of the way and then do that 30 seconds later and there's nothing you can do, I'll do that, right? There's a lot of reasons why people compare them to Leon Edwards, right? 2 black guys from England, blah, blah, blah. But it's true, though. It's true. Like, if you let them off the hook, they'll coast, right?
For sure.
To Aaron Pico's credit, like, he never coasts. Like, it's car crash action. He's an action fighter by all means. So, like, we can trash his wins and losses, but he's an action fighter by any means. That someone's getting nuked when Aaron Pico fights, which is the good part. But Lerone Murphy and his team and how smart he is, it's like, if you're gonna run square, hands down, chin first at me, like, we're gonna dust you.
Get it. Yeah, you're gonna get it.
And that's why with Pico, like, I feel betrayed. Because, like, us wrestlers, we were so excited for Pico. And we had so much egg on our face when he lost, right? Where it's just like, oh, all these wrestlers thought he was the God's gift to MMA. And he lost his first fight and then lost his 6th fight. And, like, we have egg on our face with Aaron Pico, Like, and we keep trying to stretch this out. It's like, he's going to get it figured out. He's still only 27 or 28. Like, oh, he's going to figure it out. It's like, he is who he is. And despite all those brilliant flashes, he just does not have a head for mixed martial arts. When Aaron Pico's mom rested him into the cradle as a newborn, she did not rest a high caliber MMA athlete. That's the only way I know how to put it. Like, he just was not put on this earth to be a high level mixed martial arts athlete.
And some of those things you just have or you don't. Yeah. And you can work into some things, but there's some of those things you just don't have. I think that's a great way of putting it. I also think the Movsar Evloev fight would have been potentially worse for him.
Okay.
Potentially worse. Maybe not as brutal of a finish. Very unlikely it's as brutal of a finish. Very possible that it could have been, though. Because Movsar does a couple things different than Lerone Murphy. He won't take a backward step. He's going to shoot. But he's always going to fucking throw really hard first. If you go back to the Arnold Allen fight, he's kind of pressuring, and Arnold Allen starts to put some pressure back on him, and he throws hard as shit and buzzes. Arnold Allen ends up putting him down. And if you go back and really watch him fight, that's what he does all the time. He throws heaters first and then changes levels. That's why he's so successful in the takedown. Obviously, he's a great wrestler, so he's going to be successful anyways. But he puts like he whips like Josh Emmett type of punches, and then we'll change his level, right? Maybe not as wide. That's probably an exaggeration, but you get what I'm getting at. I think that there was a great chance that with Pico, with that type of forward pressure, kind of hands so far away from his face and kind of throwing caution to the wind, I think a loss to Movsar with him taking you down repeatedly over and over and over and over again looks way worse in the end. Getting clipped by Lerone Murphy, who likely moves into a title shot now. And maybe we can work with that if you decide to change the entire trajectory of your career and actually who you are deep down as a person, if that's even possible. Getting dominated bell to bell by Movsar, getting battered on your feet and then taken down probably doesn't look great. That probably ends right there.
So featherweight had two fighters the UFC just did not want to put in title contention: Movsar Evloev and Lerone Murphy. Like, that's why they kept just giving them like hard matchups, not sexy matchups. Like, Lerone Murphy was getting Edson Barboza, and the fight was good. So like, okay, we'll give you Dan Ige, who's one of the toughest like risk reward guys, because he's only going to be ranked 12, 13, 14 or unranked, but a really, really hard out. Josh Emmett, the same thing. Like, Lerone Murphy, they would not give him a guy ranked ahead of him. They just refused to do it. They didn't want him in title contention. And then Aaron Pico, same thing. They're like, all right, if Aaron Pico can beat Lerone Murphy, you can make a case he gets a title shot. And if Lerone Murphy just gets another 15-minute decision by landing 23 significant strikes, then he just holds serve and we can get someone else in there. I don't think in even the UFC's matchmaking's wildest imagination, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to get knockout of the year contender out of Lerone Murphy against Aaron Pico. But now he finds himself kind of like, again, another Leon Edwards comparison. Leon Edwards was Lerone Murphy for the entire time of his career until headshot, right? Until he got, he finally got a holy shit moment, and one of the craziest holy shit moments we've ever seen. Lerone Murphy.
And then he went back to being who he was before.
And right, but in our back of our minds, we're always thinking of one shot, right? Now Lerone Murphy has that. He has his holy shit moment, the viral moment. And now it's going to be him with that title shot passing up Movsar Evloev again.
Right. That's poor Movsar. No. All right. I suspect that the main event talk will be shorter, but we obviously have to talk about Khamzat Chimaev absolutely dominating Dricus du Plessis. Two things were surprising to me. Dana White not burying Khamzat in the post-fight press conference. Absolutely shocking to me. I totally understand why. Dricus is a pain in the ass. So if you can beat him any way, you can slow him down and stay not in front of him. Totally understand. And I suppose he's probably done enough to warrant getting one from the boss and being like, all right, that was your one to be safe, go win the title. Now you got to go back to fighting. You every once in a while you'll get a pass.
Literally one. Like fight. The guy was 14 and like, look, this is okay. If people don't like Chimaev's performance against Dricus, you can like or not like it. That's fine. Like, I'm not going to, some analysts, some YouTubers, some radio hosts will lecture fans on what to like and what they won't. I won't. If you didn't like that fight, fine. You don't have to like it. But think about Khamzat Chimaev for a minute. In 15 fights, he has 9 first-round finishes, 3 second-round finishes, a fight of the night, a razor-close decision, and 1 lopsided decision. 14 of his 15 fights have been awesome. If you're like, no, he's a boring fighter because once every 15 fights he's kind of boring, then you're not an MMA fan. You're just a Justin Gaethje fan. And you're like, no, you have to have every single fight has to be amazing or I don't like you.
Right. No, and I'm not going to sit here and lie and tell you that I enjoyed every second of that fight. It wasn't the most entertaining thing I've ever watched. I'm also very aware of how hard it is to do what he did for 25 minutes. It's exhausting. It's hard. You have to have really, really good patience. Like, you have to be really dialed in because it's easy to get bored yourself. It happens. I know it sounds crazy, but it happens. I've been in fights where like there's not enough happening. I'm getting bored and I'll be winning and I'll start just doing shit that's more exciting because I'm having more fun doing that and not just focused on the win. Totally easier to do that, I suppose, when you're in the middle of a title shot and just focused on that belt. But I thought it was impressive. I thought that Khamzat came in super calm and did what he had to do to make sure that he had that he got a win. He didn't take any really huge chances with that type of money and that type of opportunity. I'm not saying that I would choose to do it myself or that I would choose for anyone else to do it, but I understand it. And it seems like Dana did too, because again, a lot of times the UFC will give you one.
Well,
They'll give you one.
And we've had this
because
conversation.
it
We've had this
happens.
conversation many times, Anthony. And what do I always say about a boring fight? The onus is on the losing fighter.
For sure.
When you're fighting it, when you're fighting in MMA, we ask you as fans to do two things, right? And if you do one of those two things, you've done your job, right? Be exciting and win.
Mhm.
If you can be really exciting but you lost, be like, hey, you did your best, you gave me a good show, great. If you won but you were kind of boring, it's like, hey, you doubled your purse, or in this case, you won the title. It's still a competition at the end of the day. If you do both, wonderful, right? Exciting and win, then we're buying pay-per-views, right? As long as you do one of those two things, I'm okay. Dricus, I wasn't shocked with what Khamzat did. I was blown away with the lack of just very basic wrestling fundamentals from Dricus du Plessis. Like
blown away.
Khamzat's
blown
shooting
away.
in.
What did you spend your training camp doing?
Dude, Dricus is defending a single leg, and he just refuses to push his hips out and his legs out, push the head and get the hips down. He's just on his knees, and and Khamzat easily just climbs up. When Dricus is on his back, he's not hand fighting, trying to stand up. In the 5th round, he did, right? And it was perfect. As soon as Chimaev took some of the pressure off to ground and pound, Dricus pushed the hand off, spun around, ended up on top, got his back, and almost had the greatest comeback in MMA history. The one time he did just the basic wrestling stand-up, he almost won. Like, he almost got a rear naked choke. But he spent the first 22 minutes just flopping around. And this is exactly what all the people that were very wrong about Dricus for all these years thought would happen. It's just the lack of fundamentals he's always been able to overcome, but it really showed off against Chimaev. And I think Chimaev was just like, I can't believe how easy this is. Why would I change? I'm not gonna. I didn't.
Why would you?
Why would you change anything? You're coasting. You're just cruising, man. You're playing basketball against a 7-year-old, right? Like you're just. Why would I adjust anything if I'm Khamzat Chimaev? And so, no, I wasn't like. I was surprised how the fight went with Chimaev, but only because I think Chimaev was as shocked as anybody that he can just coast on top and nothing's going to change.
So I was, again, I'm very similar to you. I was not shocked that Khamzat took the route that he took. I was blown away that Dricus was so bad in some of those spots. Like, that guy's a black belt. Like, he competes at times, or did, in competitive jiu-jitsu. And I suppose I've always only ever seen him on top. So never really seen too much of his ground game from the bottom. But he's such a physically imposing person. I thought, well, these guys that's kind of gotten ragdolled by Khamzat, your Kevin Hollands, your Robert Whittaker's, your, name your guy. A lot of them, like even Robert Whittaker's he's a small middleweight. He could still make 70 if he wanted to. Dricus is a very, very large man, very strong, very explosive in his own way. It looks weird, but it's its own type of explosiveness. So I thought he would at least be able to create some scrambles and some moments to get some space and find his way to his feet. And then he would be strong enough and large enough to force some double underhooks and get himself off the fence. Yeah. And it's from step one that everything went wrong. Yeah. He has zero scrambling ability. He has none of those instincts, none of those create space type of movements where, my coaches, Scotty would always tell me, when you get taken down, you're already halfway back up. So like if, the one time Khamzat kind of got his feet together and he fell to his butt, if you pause the video right there, you're not halfway down. You're halfway on your way back up. There was no posting a hand, scooting his butt, framing up and keeping Khamzat's chest up, and then kind of hip escaping and pulling your bottom leg out. There was none of he doesn't have that. That's not something I do that I ever think about. It's just instinct. I've just done it so many times over the last 20 years. It just happens. And when I'm teaching it, I'll teach part of those techniques. And then I'll have the guys will stop me and say, hey, what was that? It's so instinctual at this point. I just do it and I forget to teach it because it's just a natural movement that I have. So I'll have to back up, and it's making me a better coach because now I'm figuring out, holy fuck, I don't even realize I do some of these things. I've just been taught them for so many years that it's part of my DNA at this point. Dricus du Plessis has none of those in terms of the get-ups. He spent more time in a crucifix on Saturday night than I've spent in side control in my entire life. In my whole life. And that's not me bragging. That's saying that he's so far behind.
Yeah.
He doesn't have enough time left in his life alive on this earth to make up the gap that there was in the crucifixing someone at this level. And for you, those of you that are home or listening to me on your drive, being crucifixed, if I was to get crucifixed in practice, I would fucking leave practice. I'd be so angry and embarrassed, I would fucking leave. And I know in MMA it happens at times. You're taking a couple shots and guy jumps over. But if you're actually like legitimately stuck in it, I'm not saying if no one's ever stepped over my leg, over my arm, in some weird funky ass scramble and I get stuck there for a second and then you got to, work your way out of it. But like legitimately getting stuck there, that's like getting wrist locked. Like, it just can't happen. You can't let that happen. It happened like 5 times, almost. I think in every round it happened at least once. He wasn't framing. He wasn't digging underhooks from the bottom. He wasn't doing a lot of really basic things. And it would be easy for me to say, well, it's Khamzat. It's not. It's not. It's not Khamzat is so good that you can't get an underhook from the bottom. It's not Khamzat that you have no instincts to frame when he's down low or push on his head and know that you got to get 1 foot out at a time and stop trying to pull out 2. I got guys that I'm like arguing whether with the other black belts, whether I'm going to let them even take their blue belt test. Yeah. They can do all of those things. It's at this level. I don't know how a lot of us missed it, that he didn't have any of those abilities. And maybe we just never see him in those positions.
Yeah, I think look, and again, getting crucifixed, like you get crucifixed once by a really, really good wrestler, you're like, that's embarrassing. It's not going to happen again. Like you said, almost every round, and then clueless on how to get out of it when you're there. And that's just one of several positions. Like, has Dricus never wrestled anybody who knew how to turn the corner? Like,
yeah, maybe
the second Chimaev's a phenomenal wrestler. But like the second Chimaev, like he would shoot from 10 feet away, which you're not supposed to.
Well, and his entries aren't great.
They're not great.
His entries aren't great.
He just shoots really low and climbs.
Right. It's the second and that third attempt, but it's always an angle change. If he can touch you, he's coming back. He's very, 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 very fucking good there. But his entries aren't great. So the whole thing was fascinating to me. Like the whole thing.
Like Chimaev, like chain wrestling, right? Like you shoot, turn the corner, body lock. Sometimes you chain together 2, 3, 4. Chimaev's chain wrestling got to 2, and then Dricus's life turned into a Rubik's Cube. Like he just had no clue what to do on Chimaev's second. Again, like no one had ever turned the corner on Dricus ever, it seemed, which really blew me away. And it's just, I guess, just a credit to his like toughness, durability, strength, and like mind for fighting. That with just so many basic foundations of grappling he doesn't have, and still was an undefeated UFC champion for a while.
That's actually where I was going to go next.
It's pretty crazy.
It's all well and good for me to sit here and criticize him, but that's my job.
And it can be taught, because remember there was one clinch exchange that was more judo-y, where Dricus had an overhook.
Yeah, and he defended the takedown there.
He defended the takedown and almost got a takedown himself. You're like, okay, Dricus has a judo background. Like if he can get to somebody, like he knows the fundamentals of judo. There's just none of that on the wrestling part of it. So it was wild.
Yeah, I mean, we could, if I was to just put my coach's hat on, like we could fix some of those problems. We really could. Like if he spent, I don't know, if you did it, you had if your manager's real good and you can match make yourself into a fight where you don't have to worry so much about the wrestling and jiu-jitsu, which I feel like has been a lot of his career at points. But if you could get another one of those and spend the next year just really, I mean, we're hip escaping, we're shrimping, we're framing, we're fighting the underhook, and you just drill it over. He would hate his fucking life. It'd be so goddamn boring. It would hate every second of it. But you could close some of those gaps. What you can't create, though, is you can't teach someone how to scramble. Yeah. That's an American wrestling thing that he just doesn't have.
I would. The only thing I would push back on a little bit is I think Dricus would love it. I think he would love an American college wrestling room. He would get his ass kicked, but I think he would love that grind. Like
I don't know that that's what he needs. I think he needs. I think that would help for sure, especially because of the way that Khamzat wrestles. That actually, now that I've like double thought it, that actually does make a lot of sense because they are far. He'd probably do better in at DC's high school wrestling room.
Yeah,
he would be a little more physical and imposing, but he would be used to them dudes having to shoot from so far away and then getting into those scrambling exchanges. So I guess you're right. I think he needs like a Izzy.
Yeah,
I think we need Izzy
Martinez.
Like Izzy Martinez.
Not Israel Adesanya, not that as a wrestling coach.
No. Izzy doesn't need to teach Dricus how to wrestle. I think Izzy Martinez, though, with a lot of MMA background, like really high level wrestling coach, but also understands wrestling. I think that would do wonders for him. He should move to America or spend 8 or 9 months here.
And again,
and just work on that.
And because he is such a war of attrition fighter, he doesn't even have to be get that completely figured out. It's just instead of so easily getting that first takedown on the first move, make Chimaev work a little bit. Have to chain wrestle.
Well, he's defensively sound enough to stay safe. I mean, wasn't finished.
He wasn't finished.
Look what Khamzat's done to everyone else. He was safe enough.
Chimaev's ground and pound, though, is pretty terrible. You get a guy in a crucifix. Compare Matt Hughes' crucifix to Khamzat Chimaev's. It was the most pitter.
Well, he was safe.
Yeah,
he was safe. The problem was one arm he's got to control with his head and arm, or with his head mostly. And the other one he's got control of the legs. The leg one is a little easier to control. If you really want to get some serious damage going on, you got to be able to posture a little bit. The posture a lot of times will lose the crucifix, so it's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. So we'll lose that one arm. You'll land 2-3 elbows, and then they'll start to turn towards you. And then you'll have to attack the arm and then get the crucifix again, hide it with your head, pitter patter, get ready, posture, boom, boom, boom. Then you're going to start losing it again. It's a lot of work. And he wasn't necessarily real keen on the work portion of that.
Crucifix is the ultimate when you're in training and you just went with all the badasses and you're exhausted, and then you grab the blue belt and you just go crucifix and you can just chill for 2 minutes. Because any other position, even if I take your back, they're going to be trying to get out, right? It's just mount, you got to hold it. Crucifix, just gonna chill.
Yep, just hold on to that head.
Yeah, just arch the hips every now and then, little pitter patter.
But there was also a couple times where Dricus would get his hand out a little bit, but it would be on top of Khamzat's. He didn't even have the jiu-jitsu awareness to, instead of he's holding on to. It was such a fighting is about making decisions, right? So the decision you have to make is, if I hold his head down, now my arm is out of play and I'm still stuck here. But he can't posture up and hit me big.
Yeah.
So I'm safe. If I move that hand in front of his face, now I can go elbow high, get his chest up, and I can start turning into him, and I can start to escape. But he's also going to posture, and I'm going to fucking eat 2 or 3 on my way up.
Yeah.
And he had those decisions he was making the whole time. And like you said early when we first started this conversation, the onus is on the challenger or the guy losing those boring fights to make something happen. He chose the safer route, but it was also the least appealing to watch route.
Did you learn anything about Khamzat's cardio, or did the fight stay exactly where he wanted the whole time that he never got to? Because that was my point was
he stayed in second gear.
Yeah, because that's my point is Dricus doesn't even have to win those exchanges. He just has to make Khamzat work. Instead of chain wrestling and only getting 2 moves in and getting the takedown, make him have to do 2, 3, 4, 5 chain wrestling moves and then get up and make him work like he did in the 5th. He doesn't even have to win those things. It's just make Chimaev work and you can beat him in a 5-round fight. But yeah, second point, second gear. Chimaev was RJ against the high school blue belt at the end of practice when he's exhausted. I'm just going to chill and crucifix.
I fucking love RJ. Having him on here, we get Dean on every once in a while. It all just feels right in the world when we can get the SiriusXM crew back together.
Yeah, I feel like we're just stealing the SiriusXM vibes that we had before we all got canned. But I love RJ.
Not we all. I didn't.
Yeah, well, it's rub it in, I guess. What's happening here between the ESPN deal and SiriusXM? I'm losing more jobs than I got, especially with
And
retirement.
retirement. It comes in
Yeah,
threes.
yeah. I'm about to be living on the streets here pretty soon. No, but I love RJ. My family loves RJ. He came in and hung out while we were eating dinner on Friday, and he's good vibes. He's got a little bit different analysis, and his brain works. He differently. He just thinks about different things that I don't always think of. So I always have a good time chopping it up with him about fights.
Before we get out of here, we've got some fights this weekend. I definitely want to get to those, get your take there. But I had a feel good moment of the weekend because you tear me down brick by brick, week by week.
I don't know that I'd say
5%.
tear you down. That's a
you
bit
do.
dramatic. Okay.
But I was just scrolling through the DMs and scrolling. There was a couple.
Because they're so popular. There's
Listen.
so many of them. You had to skip the first one and go to the second one. Anyway,
Exactly.
so you skip the first one.
Skip the first one, and on the second one, I found a really kind message. And it says, "Hey, I think you're super pretty, and despite what Anthony says, I know you'll be married one day for sure."
That's definitely from a man. Absolutely.
100%. And he did spell despite wrong. He put dispute, but it's okay.
What's his first name? What's his first name?
It's not there. His name is the same exact name as his handle, which isn't a name.
Well, I don't want to give up his handle.
No, exactly. Nice. So that's why. Listen,
that's
why I read it. We can
all right, nice feller. All right, nice feller. I'm always just flipping Kelly shit. I think at some point in time when she's, I don't know, definitely before she's 100, she'll find someone.
It that long. I'm fueled by like Newports and White Claws.
It's too much fun making fun of Kelly and just giving her some shit. It's all in fun. If I actually thought it bothered her, I wouldn't do it. I think at some point in time before she's deep into her elder years, I think she'll probably find somebody. So even if it's in a nursing home, people in nursing homes hook up all the time. So
it was kind. I needed it.
Very nice.
All right. Like I said, UFC Shanghai this weekend. It's a big one. I'm coming off a pay-per-view. We've got another good card to get to. I mean, you're familiar with the guys in the main event. We have a co-main.
Yeah. I know. We're skipping shit. Hold on. Before we get into this weekend's fights, we have to give a shout out to Legendz. You got to stop forgetting about this, Kelly. You're going to get us in trouble. We got to give a shout out to Legendz, the official sweepstakes partner of the On Paper podcast. It's 100% free to play. You just make your fight picks, you climb the leaderboard, you can win real prizes. There's no betting, no stress. It's just your fight IQ versus the world. Hit the link in the description. Make your picks now. And now we can start getting into this, Kelly.
Thank God for you. Thank
God
I'm
just here. I'm here. Someone has to be here to pay the bills.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone has to pay the bills.
Big light heavyweight main event. You're familiar with both of these guys. Johnny Walker taking on Zhang Mingyang. Mingyang, hasn't lost a fight since 2019.
Who's he? Sorry.
Did he take your memory away?
Wow. Yeah, okay. We don't need this bullshit analysis anymore.
Undefeated in the UFC.
Yeah. We all know he's really good at fighting. Johnny Walker's pretty good too. He does some flying shit.
I was gonna say his most notable win
was also me,
which is a compliment to you.
I know. Okay.
Johnny Walker in a very much a different boat. He hasn't won a fight in over 2 years. He's coming off back-to-back losses to Magomed Ankalaev and Volkan Oezdemir, and then he's got that no contest to Ankalaev as well. So there's probably nobody better to speak about this one than you. Let me compliment you. Hell of an analyst, and you've been in there with both of them.
Oh, thank you. I also beat Volkan Oezdemir, by the way.
Yes, you did.
I did that. It's a great fight, though. Stylistically, it's an incredible fight. I actually do favor Johnny Walker a little bit. I've seen him recently. We ran into each other in Vegas. It was all hugs and all love, and that man is absolutely fucking huge. He is a large man. The picture we took is just mind-blowing. How much larger he is than I am. And I'm not
you're what?
small.
Like you're like 6'3", 6'4"?
6'4", 240 pounds. It wasn't that long ago. It was every bit of 255, 260, 6'6", maybe a tad taller. Mm-hmm. Looks like he's in incredible shape. And I have heard that if Johnny Walker just slows down and backs a little bit off the gas, that he just does magical things in the gym. Physically, he's a specimen. He's just all around, can kind of do it all. He just doesn't. He kind of fights like an idiot at times. He's gotten to have, oddly enough, people out there are going to talk a lot of shit about this, but he's kind of I've developed this soft spot for him because I think he's a bit misunderstood. So I wouldn't say I've like hung out with him a whole bunch, but I've spent more time with him after we fought than obviously I did before.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a bit of a soft spot. He's a bit of a child, kind of like he's got a very childish personality to him, not in a bad way, but in a very innocent, fun way.
The only thing I can ever think of now, though, when I hear his name or see it's a Johnny Walker fight week, is that like picture where he's outside the arena and just his little
his fight kit.
Yeah. Yes, because he got kicked out, not kicked out, but they send you back in once you're done fighting,
right.
And he just looks so vulnerable.
Yeah,
for such a large man.
Yeah, he's I don't know, he's very he's I don't know, he's very fun. He's very fun. Min Yang got a lot of respect for that guy. He's got a crazy skill set. He's got power in his hands. He's definitely not going to enjoy a power advantage in this fight. Johnny Walker is as equal of a kicker as he is. Johnny will also fight on the inside. The difference is Johnny has had some questions about his durability and at times taking shots.
Yep.
He's had some freaky kind of looking knockouts, but I do favor Johnny a little bit if he goes in and fights smart and is a little safer. I think he can do really well. So it'll be a great fight. I'll be tuned in for sure.
And just real quick before we get out of here, co-main event, Brian Ortega, Aljamain Sterling. It's a 5-rounder. I love every bit of this. I hope it goes long. Should see some good, grappling exchanges. But how do you see this one going?
Well, I think you just need to inject that right into my veins. Here's the weird thing. Ortega's got to definitely have the striking advantage in terms of the technical ability. Now, if we're talking, like who's the more effective guy, Aljo seems to be more effective at times because his whole idea is he's just striking to get to a takedown. And it works very well for him. Ortega's a little more technical. He's got good boxing. He's got good power in his hands. He'll sit down and throw with you in the pocket. Aljo typically won't. Jiu-jitsu advantage 100% to Brian Ortega, but I'm not sleeping on Aljo. Aljamain is so good on the ground. And as good as he is, yeah, he's scary. A human backpack. Like if he gets Brian Ortega's back, he'll submit him too. So I think it's just going to be a great fight. It really comes down to who can, I guess, just really force their game plan on the other. If Aljamain can't get a takedown and he can't get to a top position, I just don't see Brian Ortega submitting Aljamain from his back. So I think if Aljo gets a takedown and he can get them repeatedly, I think he wins that fight. If he struggles there and he gets hung out there to dry on his feet, Ortega's going to have a bit of a heyday with Aljo at times.
There's just so many question marks because, like we said, when Aljo gets your back, it's a nasty place to be. Brian Ortega from his back, scary place to be as well.
For sure.
So there's just like so many different ways this can go, and I'm just so excited. It's 5 rounds. I hope it takes every bit of it.
But yeah, I hope we see 2 5-rounders in a row. I really do. I'll be excited if both those fights go to a decision. But yeah, that's it for us. We are going to get the hell out of here. I am going to enjoy my 3 weeks I have off now. It's like I barely have any jobs. So,
all right.
Oh my God. Did we talk about the Paramount? We didn't talk about the Paramount deal, did we?
We didn't. You've been a busy man.
You know what we should do? We should just not talk about it. We'll do another episode in a couple days. And we'll just catch up and talk about more. Because now that I'm thinking about it, I got a lot more in my brain, but I got shit to do today. So
let's do it.
Make sure you guys like, subscribe. I think we're going to do another episode. So send in some questions. That'll be a lot of fun. Let's hit some questions.
I'll post a prompt on our Instagram account at the On Paper Pod where I'll ask everybody for questions for you.
Fantastic. All right. Well, like, subscribe, hit that button. It's easy for you guys. It does a lot to help us. And we will see you guys next week. We partner with HomoFight Picks to get you the most accurate and well-researched fight predictions. They do all the legwork so you can focus on winning. Picks will be sent directly to your phone via text or email. It's totally up to you. The second we upload them. Use code Lionheart to get 7 free days at winnable.com/HOF Picks. That's WINIBLE.com/HOF Picks.
With Anthony Smith.